thunder. Gray, black, and blue. Big bass drums, glass shattering. I feel small. I like the thunder because it makes me want to snuggle with my blankets. My weather poem from yesterday. And here we are at my weather window. Today outside is a cloudy day. The temperature outside is greater than 40. I think I saw that the temperature was 50 degrees outside. So 50 is greater than 40. So let's look at the week. I count 2 sunny days, 1 stormy day, rainy day, 2 cloudy days. And when we started tracking the temperature, 3 days have been above 40 degrees and 1 day has been below 40. Now keep in mind that I'm tracking the weather at my house in the morning. Does the weather always stay the same throughout the day? Do some days the rain happens in the afternoon and not the morning? And some days it rains in the morning and not the afternoon. So that's yet another way you could keep track of the weather. But for our lesson, I am just going to be tracking what's happening in the morning. Do not forget to keep track of the weather over the weekend. We will not have a lesson tomorrow. We will not have a lesson on Sunday, but there will still be weather happening. So do not forget to track Saturday and Sunday. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. Let's catch our calendar up. Yesterday was the 16th of April, but we had our lesson outside, so we didn't do calendar. So that means it's the end of the week. It is Friday, April the 17th. Tomorrow will be Saturday, April the 18th. The new moon is happening on April the 22nd. So let's count and see how many more days we have in this moon cycle until the new moon occurs. So today will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The new moon happens on the 22nd. All right. Later in our lesson, you're going to be going outside to make your rainbow flags. But before we do that, we're going to work on some sight words that have to do with the weather. I am excited to hear everyone's weather poem. I heard George's yesterday. George wrote his weather poem about fog. What a really great weather word. I remember from George's poem that fog makes George feel lonely. Thunder makes me feel small. Share your weather poem with everyone, and I'd like to know how your weather word makes you feel. All right, so you'll need your sight word book so we can go over the sight words. And after we read through them all, we're going to do a listening game. And I forgot to do the weather gnomes. At my house, the weather gnome says it is cloudy. And I want you to look at what happened to the poor, windy weather gnome. Can you see that? That bad dog Ollie got a hold of the windy weather gnome. But he'll still get to stand with the cloudy gnome, because I think it's going to be cloudy and windy, and later today will be rainy, maybe stormy, definitely rainy. Alrighty. Now, your sight word books will probably be in a different order than mine. So you can either read the sight words with me now, or you can press pause and just read through your sight word book at home and just fast forward through this part. Okay? On. And. Put. And the more you practice these, boys and girls, the faster you're going to get at reading these. So that's why I'm not going slow today. You keep practicing and you keep memorizing these words and you can go really fast. So this is going to help you in your reading to just read right through these words when you get to them on a page. Okay? And. Up. At. Go. Of. Or. If. Sit. Who. All. For. Had. I. Get. Fun. Will. Yes. Mom. Him. Got. Did. With. To. A. Soon. See. A challenge for you. See how many of these words you can read in 1 minute. See how many of these words you can read in 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Challenge yourself this weekend to start memorizing these words and see how good you're getting by timing yourself and see if you can beat your time each time you try. All right, I left out 3 words on purpose because we're going to use them today for our listening game. I left out the word is, in, and it. Is, I-S says is. It. I-T says it. And in. I-N says in. You can arm tap these now if you'd like to. All right, so keep these words in mind while you listen to what I am going to read to you. Every time you hear me read the word is, or it, or in, you can put a sticker by your word, you can put a tally mark by your word, you can put an M&M candy by your word, okay? So you can keep track of how many times you hear the words. I'm going to read about storms and rain from this book called Storms by Susan Canizares and Betsy Chesson. This book actually has some really great pictures in it, so after our game we can look through it. But I want you to be listening right now. Winds come in all shapes and sizes. A gentle breeze is 4 to 12 miles per hour. At 25 to 31 miles per hour, a strong wind, big trees sway and branches toss. Winds over 75 miles per hour are described as hurricane force. Violent storms, such as hurricanes and tornadoes, are the most destructive forms of weather on the planet. Sometimes we experience thunderstorms along with rain. Thunderstorms happen when the water droplets in a thundercloud are tossed against the ice crystals that are also there. This produces an electrical charge, and when the charge is great enough, it flashes to the earth as a streak of lightning. The air that expands very rapidly around the lightning produces the thunder. When there is so much rain that it can't drain off in the usual way, flooding can occur, and it can be quite damaging. Okay. Take a little time to play that back if you need to. Or actually, I can read it again. I'll just read it again. Listen, 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 closely, closely, closely. I actually didn't mean to read this wind part. It's on the wrong page. But because we haven't really talked about wind that much, we've been talking more about rain and storms. But that's okay. So listen to this part about wind again and the part about storms. And listen for the three words: is, it, and in. Winds come in all shapes and sizes. A gentle breeze is 4 to 12 miles per hour. At 25 to 31 miles per hour, a strong wind, big trees sway and branches toss. Winds over 75 miles per hour are described as hurricane force. Violent storms, such as hurricanes and tornadoes, are the most destructive forms of weather on the planet. Hurricanes form over water. These storms can be 1,000 miles across and produce winds of 180 miles per hour. Tornadoes are smaller, but their twisting winds can reach 300 miles per hour, lifting and tossing trees, cars, and even houses. Sometimes we experience thunderstorms along with rain. Thunderstorms happen when the water droplets in a thundercloud are tossed against the ice crystals that are also there. This produces an electrical charge, and when the charge is great enough, it flashes to the earth as a streak of lightning. The air that expands very rapidly around the lightning produces the thunder. When there is so much rain that it can't drain off in the usual way, flooding can occur, and it can be quite damaging. How many times did you hear the word is? How many times did you hear the word it? How many times did you hear the word in? Listen, there's a lot of words that I just read. So let's look at the pictures in this book. They're really neat. And this is a fun book that repeats itself a lot, so I bet by the end of the book you'll be reading along with me. Sometimes it rains. And this can happen. Sometimes, oops, and this can happen. But if there is a rainstorm, this can happen. Sometimes it snows. And this can happen. But if there is a blizzard, this can happen. Sometimes the wind blows and this can happen. But sometimes, if there is a tornado, this can happen. Okay, next week we'll keep talking about the weather. We'll keep tracking the weather on our weather window. I am thinking about experiments and activities we can do that play along with the wind and tornadoes, and more things about storms. So that's probably going to be the focus of next week in our weather study. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Have fun making your rainbow flags, and I can't wait to see pictures of them and hear your weather poetry. Bye. Hi everybody. So I'm in my yard because I wanted to do the rainbow flags really big. If you don't want to do a really big rainbow flag, you don't have to. You can do it on a small little pillowcase, or a small little handkerchief, small little washcloth. But I decided I wanted to do a big flag. So I found a big sheet and I tied up a line in my backyard to drape it over so that I can reach the entire thing. Because I want to make some really big brush strokes and make a really big flag for my house. So I told you yesterday that you would need to have watercolor or food coloring. So if you've got your food coloring or watercolor, what I've done is I've squirted a little bit into a jar and filled it up with water. So if you don't have, if you just have regular tempera paint, I bet you could do the same thing. Just add some water to whatever you have to dilute it and make it more paintable. So I've got the primary colors right now, red, yellow, and blue, to start out my rainbow flag. I also have some extra paint from school that sadly no one could use. It was just sitting all by itself at school. So I decided to bring it home. It is not watercolor paint, it's tempera paint, so it's a little thicker. So we'll see how it looks on the fabric compared to the watercolor. So after you do this, mix it up, you can either use a paintbrush, or you could use a spray bottle, or you could flick it onto your flag. You can dump it onto your flag. See if you can see it. Okay, so this is for you to have fun. This is for you to play around with. Doesn't have to be perfect rainbow lines. It could be whatever you want. So I look forward to seeing everybody's. I'm going to keep working on mine for a little bit, and I'll share it with you when I finish. So have fun with your rainbow flags today. Get really messy. Get really splattery. Use a mop, or use a broom, or use a fly swatter. Use your feet or your fingers. Use whatever you've got at home that you think would be fun to paint with. So there's my rainbow flag. Now, I don't think it's going to be a good idea to leave our flags outside today because it's supposed to rain, and all of this paint that I used is washable. So you'll need to bring your flag inside for it to dry.